Thank you. Appreciate it. So, where were we, Matt? Risborough, you were still in the middle of were we talking about an ordinance provision, or have we gotten beyond that? I think we were explaining how we draw the pool and what that process is.
There was a question about how we drew from the pool, and the process that sets out how the applicant pool is created is in the city code. There's a public notice, a period for the solicitation of resumes, and then another period for you to consider the resumes before any nominations are set forward. And I imagine if it's the will to extend this period, or even if not, that we should take steps to further implement what would happen, or provide further guidance on what would happen in the case that the mayor's nominee is not adopted within either the 60 or 90-day period, and then how the applicants will be considered after the fact. Right now, the code was silent as to that, and the question that we were going down is that something we want to address in the charter? And I think it's more appropriate to address in the code provision that already lays out the beginning of that process, the solicitation of the resumes, the timeframes within which they should be presented to council, and adding another section to that ordinance that addresses, in the event that no one is accepted, each of the applicants will be placed on a ballot for consideration of the council. If we want to mimic what we did this time, I think that's the appropriate avenue to address that.
Mayor?
Yes.
Yeah, so I kind of like this process that just happened, in the sense that, I think that if we gave, like this process, right, where all the applicants went through the process, submitted their names, and sent their applications, the fact that all council members were able to get that information, they were, it'd be good that the same time that the mayor is interviewing the individuals that he, right now it's set up that the mayor is the first one that has 90 days or 60 days at this point to take a crack at this, right, where they are, taking applications and then setting up meetings to sit down and meet with those applicants. And so you have 60 days to work with that. I think it would be good in the sense that the council would also have the same ability to meet with those individuals at the same time and talk to them. And maybe this helps speed up the process, in case that...
Not the host. Enter the numeric meeting password, followed by pound.
Sorry, I heard something coming in. It's weird. So, I think that it would be ideal that what happened in this last time would continue to happen again, in the sense that all the council members had the ability to see all the applicants, meet all the applicants, and talk to them, so that I think that when that, let's just say if the 90 days or 60 days now, but 90 days does happen, that right off the back, it would just default to this process here where those names of the applicants that were already vetted through the mayor and council, they were all able to see it at the same time. 90 days, let's say 90-day ends, the mayor their appointee doesn't get appointed, then it would again kick over to this process here where the council had 90 days as well to vet those same individuals, and they're able to pick out and select from this pool. I think this would happen now was ideal. Now, I wasn't there voting, but I would think, I'm assuming that there was a tough process, a tough call for those elected officials. But then again, that's what we're voted in for, right, to make those hard decisions. So I just wanted to kind of share my thoughts on this process that just happened, and I liked it. I mean, I would even say that I get right now it's the mayor has 60 days. I mean, part of my brain automatically says, well, why don't we just, the first question I would say, okay, why does the mayor get to do the 60 days? Why don't we just remove that from the mayor and just put it automatically for the whole council to vet 90 days to sit down and talk to all the applicants and figure out and let this process just happen could be another thought as well. If we stay at the current way, which is 60 days, then goes to 90 days through the mayor, I'm okay with that as well. But as soon as that, if it doesn't take place, there's no one gets appointed, that right away it would just trigger this process that we just had. I thought it was good. That's just my opinion. I'm one of all of you guys up there, so I'd like to hear your thoughts.
Mr. Mayor, if I may.
Sure, please.
So this initial period that the mayor is given, the reality of it is it's still voted on. And so it's not like he's doing it completely on his own. So
Correct.
I don't think that that's an issue that we need to worry about. Going on to what the second part of this discussion, by keeping that pool exclusive to those who have already been vetted, it kind of removes the opportunity for abuse. Because the reality of it is, if you can just grab someone on the 91st day, you can just grab someone from anywhere, who knows who that person is. And again, all of the council members have the opportunity to view these people. They are being properly vetted. And I just think that where we are right now is what we need to move forward with.
Hey, and let me just clarify. All of the council members, at least during this last appointment process, were encouraged and had every opportunity to interview, to meet with, to vet each and every member in that pool. They were not kept from other council members. Certainly, I can't imagine that any council member would come to that dais and be expected to cast a vote without having been part of that process. So let's not be led out into those weeds. While the mayor there's very few perks that the mayor has, and one is the first crack at nominating someone to fill a council vacancy. And you're right. During that 90-day period it's voted on, just the same, or 60-day period, whatever it's going to be, just as subsequent to that 60 or 90-day period, it is a council-wide vote.
Yeah, I concur. Like I said, the other was just a thought, of my thinking. But like I said, if it's the way it is right now, if it's 60 and it goes to 90, I'm okay with that. The part that I said that I agree, and I agree with what Les was just saying as well, is the fact that, yeah, the same pool that's already been vetted, that's already been talked about, that it would kick in right away to do the process which we did in this last time, I think is the one that works. So I would say that I'm agreeing with the process that we just had. If we'll add the 90 days, and then from the 90 days, once 90 days ends, then I would propose to see what just took place last time, which is that same pool of individuals, just those that were vetted within those 90 days, be the same ones that stay into the next portion, which was voted on by the council.
Let me ask our attorney something, and I know we don't want to get bogged down in the charter with this long procedure, but could you roll into one question extending the period from 60 to 90 days by the addition of language, some language that provides that it is from nomination of council from within that pool of applicants?
I'd envision doing that in the code, and limiting that, because the charter doesn't speak to the pool of applicants at all.
Okay.
All of that is codified. So then you're really dipping into what's in Chapter 10 and you're pulling more over into the charter, which we can do. It's just going to take it'll take a few questions to try and put that in place. If you do it by ordinance,
our bigger picture. So
it could.
Thinking out loud, then it might be appropriate as we wrap up our deliberations here to make a series of recommendations to council for their consideration that would complement these charter questions, such as adopt a procedure in the adopt a procedure such as was followed last time to go forward if the mayor's nominee is not confirmed within whatever time frame that might be.
Well, I think that's the
cleanest way to do it.
I think it would be.
Mr. Mayor, I have a question.
Mr. Guzman.
In the last round where we went through this, did every applicant have an opportunity to meet with each of the other 5 council members, or were any of them not given that opportunity to meet with them due to scheduling issues or whatever may happen?
To my knowledge and understanding, every applicant met at least once, and I know that others came back for a second round with some members of council after my first nominee was not approved.
Okay, so do you think that maybe we ought to have something, a procedure to ensure that everybody has a fair shot to meet with each of the members? There could be a council member just stonewall someone and say, I don't want to meet with that person.
That's their discretion, though.
Okay.
And just like it was in their discretion not to show up for a special call meeting to consider my second nominee.
Okay. Just trying to check off all the boxes here.
I understand. It's sometimes frustrating. All right, so we have a motion on the floor to amend the charter giving the mayor the nomination period extended from current 60 to 90 days. It's been moved and seconded. Are there any further items of discussion?
So did we finalize the second part? Is it going to stay as it is now, or we're not going to deal with that today?
That has to be by code. And as I said, I think that as we wrap up and submit all of this package to council, I'd like to see us issues. I have some other recommendations unrelated to this in mind that are to be dealt with by code, but this would be one of them, an implementation ordinance.
Okay.
So, on advice of council, we're solely addressing the extension of 60 to 90 days as a charter amendment.
Okay, I'm ready to move forward with that.
All right. Is there anyone who would like to register a no vote against this item? All right. So then it appears that this item passes unanimously.
Mr. Mayor, can I take 1 second? Before we move on, I'm not clear as to whether or not we were broadcasting live when we voted on the minutes. Can we just take a minute to do that vote again so we ratify that for sunshine purposes?
All right. So we had a motion and a second to approve the minutes from our March 9th, 2020 meeting with the correction as to the reflection of how Mr. Moss voted on the item with respect to extending the 4-year term of mayor. So all in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you.
Aye.
Motion carries. Given the difficulties we've had and the time constraints that we've established for ourselves, and given the detail that'll go into the next agenda item, do we have any objections to moving the special elections alternatives discussion to our next meeting? Probably a little late to start that discussion tonight. And what that would entail would be the timing of the election to fill the vacancy. And, talking about, okay, is it going to be in 30, 45, or 60 days? Do we look at tacking on to a county or state election within a certain period of time? That's what I would view for that, but I really don't know that is an issue that we want to break off on in the middle of discussion without some resolution tonight.
I agree to that.
All right. Also, for the next meeting, well, let me go back. I think in the beginning of our deliberations, we talked about that these items need to be finalized and approved by, Matt, do you have the exact date in August?
No, I think what we were going to do was aiming for July blessing of the ballot questions. So we're going to have to sort of pick up the pace a little bit or narrow our focus as to the items that we must hit. Because we were looking at a July council approval.
Right, and we can continue hopefully to meet weekly, and if we need to call a special call to finalize the charter questions at council, so be it. But with that in mind, because we've got to submit them to the supervisory elections by August in order for them to be on the general ballot in November, which is what we've always done in the past. I'd like you all to email me with your thoughts on any other outstanding issues we'd like to have discussed as we expedite this or try to narrow our focus to get this package drafted and before council so that we can meet the time frame. And again, I'm not asking for it now. Just go back, look at your notes, think through other issues that we talked about early on that we'd like to cover. Some may, certainly in my mind, my wish list has its order of priorities, and yours may too. I know Councilman Maldonado had at least one issue. I've got that in mind, so that we can, kind of move forward and get this wrapped up. Unfortunately, with the 7 weeks of meetings we missed.
Question. How do my colleagues feel on doubling up our meetings in order to accomplish, make sure we're, because unfortunately of our situation, we had to, I thought about it as like, we're not going to have enough time to go through this charter review like initially we had thought. And so I'd like to know if one of my thoughts is if we double up on that. And if that's even possible, I think, Matt, that would be a question because I think we have to notify the public about this. And so I'd be interested to at least know what that would look like, and if anyone was interested in doing it, or we're just going to kind of just everyone, like the mayor had just asked, everyone just kind of email their concerns and kind of just get those last ones in and be done with it.
Well, let's see what my suggestion would be, let's see what everyone's priorities are. Mm-hmm. Let's hope that from here on out, if we're meeting virtually, that we can avail ourselves of the full 90 minutes that we've, allocated for ourselves and see where it goes. And certainly, other than quorum issues and scheduling, I don't personally have an issue of doing a couple of extra meetings. I mean, we've covered a lot of ground and hit some major issues in the time we've had. So Councilman, let's see what I collect from the group.
Okay.
Let Mr. Pearl and I kind of regroup and see how our list mesh with what comes from the group, and we'll have that ready. So in that regard, is everyone good for next Monday at the same time, 5:30 next Monday afternoon?
Yes.
I'm not going anywhere. I'm stuck here.
You're in the backyard. Where else do you need to go? All right. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Elvis has that fence all the way around him. He's stuck there.
He's got that backyard disc jockey look with the headphones on.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All appreciate you being here.
Aye.
Thank you all.
Thanks for using WebEx. Visit our website at www.webex.com.